Greetings, positive energy all the time. Well, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. All that good stuff. I'm representing Chicago, Illinois. We have the beautiful and lovely Ivy Dreams here representing Los Angeles, California. We have New Jersey in the building. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters in Jersey. We got Buffalo, New York in the building. We got San Francisco in the building. Oh, I got a good one tonight. I've been thinking about how to break this down, right? We got San Francisco in the building. We got Greensboro, North Carolina in the building. So I've been thinking about this, how to break this down, because I always be telling people that I don't be crying, and they always get the wrong idea when I say that. So I'm really going to break that down because people misinterpret that. And that's one of the main things they got with toxic masculinity. They keep talking about men crying. I'm going to get into that. We're going to get into that because this idea of men crying is based off of the fact that you think that men are always in a predicament to cry. But what a lot of people don't know is that sometimes some of us grew up where we have never been in a crying situation. We've never had mommy and daddy arguing and fighting. We never had crying all up in the house. We never had confusion and hecticness. A lot of us grew up where every day was quiet and peaceful. A lot of us grew up where I never seen my mother cry. I never seen my father cry. I never seen my mother and father with a real serious arguing and fighting. I never seen that. Me and my sister didn't do no crying. I never seen my sister doing no crying unless we got in trouble and mommy was spanking us. The only time that me and my sister cried is if we went too far and our mommy spanked us, and that was very few times because the spanking goes a long way. So we're going to get into that because I didn't grow up crying. And I don't live a crying life. I don't live a life that puts me in that type of mode. And I think people just automatically think that every person on the planet is in a situation, in those type of situations. I don't be in those type of situations. What if I had all day to cry about? What about yesterday? What about all year? What have happened in my life for me to cry about? Nothing. So we're going to get into that. Because people just be saying crazy stuff. You understand? Like, it's all right for men to cry. Well, based on what? Crying over what exactly? Be more specific. What happened that you're crying over? Show me a situation that happened that you're crying over. Because I can't think of any situation that happened to me to be crying. I mean, even when I got stabbed and I was bleeding out on the ground, I wasn't crying. I was trying to get an ambulance. I was there at the police and I was really, I was losing blood. You know, a lot of people just be making a make-believe. I was stabbed up, I was bleeding, and I was really, the police was trying to keep me from passing out. You're not going to be crying. That's a whole nother story. So the whole crying I don't think people think about situations that call for crying. They're not very common. Crying situations are not common. I don't know where we get that from. Like crying is something that people do. Crying is not common. Okay. Well, G-Rod, a lot of us don't have situations of stress and depression and heartbreak. This is what I'm trying to tell you. What makes them think that everybody has that? G-Rod? What make, you know what I'm saying? No, but let's just deal with that. Let's not deal with that, Lamar. Let's deal with this first. G-Rod, what makes people think that every household has what happened with them? What makes people think? What makes them think that everybody has heartbreak and all of that? That's not realistic. Many people don't have that. Many people don't have those situations. Many people's lives are quiet every day. What they call non-eventful. Many people's lives are non-eventful. When me, my mother and father, me and my sister, our lives were non-eventful. Growing up, my life mostly was riding my bike, baseball, basketball, going to school, watching TV, watching cartoons, cleaning up my room, stuff like that. I've had no trauma in my life. These are people that have trauma in their lives that try to project their lives and the misery they went through, and they want to imagine that everybody in the world got what they had. Cry based on what? That's what I'm talking about, Jens. You can't just say cry. What's the situation you're crying over? And can you verify that everybody's going to be in that situation? So, okay, you had a bad breakup and you was crying. What about a man that stayed married until they both passed away? Is he going to cry? Is my daddy going to cry? Him and my mother never broke up. So what would he cry over? Does this look like a crying situation? We wasn't up in there crying. Nobody was fighting. Nobody was sad. We didn't do no crying. I didn't hear no, only crying we ever heard was when me and my sister was probably 4 and 5 and got little spankings, because they don't even be wanting to spank you once you get too old. So once we got older, we wasn't even getting spankings. And the only time I heard some crying was my cousin when he was born. He was a baby. You understand? So this idea that men should cry, my daddy didn't do no crying, so where I'm going to learn how to cry from? My father didn't have me in a crying situation. My father had me in a strong, stable home. Cry for what? Somebody come in the chat and give me 5 incidents where I should have cried for. Give me some examples. What would have happened to me for me to cry? Because every day we was on our bikes. We got swings. I'm born in 1958. I grew up in the 60s as a kid. We got swings. We playing baseball. We playing basketball. We playing football. We playing. And then I was raised from parents from Alabama, and they didn't allow you to do no unnecessary, like when you're 4 or 5 and you crying for nothing. They're like, shut up all that crying. Ain't nothing wrong with you. And that wasn't for men. That was for all the kids. So that's not toxic masculinity because they told my sister that and me. Most of the crying, some of the crying I heard was babies teething. You know how your baby teething and they be like, they be hurting so bad. You know what I'm saying? That's the crying. I had a lot of children. So most of the crying I've been around was my babies teething at about 1 something, somewhere in there. Maybe about 9 months, 10 months. I forgot what age. But somewhere in there. And they be going, they don't even be crying. They be, I don't know what you call it. Well, I don't feel strange that I didn't cry because I don't have crying situations. How could I feel bad for not crying? I don't have crying situations. Crying for what? I haven't had crying situations. And people just take for granted that everybody's got crying situations. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about toxic masculinity because I always tease people and say, I got toxic masculinity. But the only reason I say I got toxic masculinity is because society made up toxic masculinity. But there was no such thing as toxic masculinity until homosexuality got big. Whoa. You know, there was no toxic masculinity until there was a lot of gay men. Until there was a lot of toxic femininity from the men. And when the men became over feminine, all of a sudden, there was this new teaching that I should behave like a gay man. I'm just saying, because not all these men crying are heterosexuals. I'm just saying. So when you see a man cry, what kind of man is that? Because to me, a lot of homosexual men do bad impersonations of women. So they do a lot of crying because they believe this is what women do. But there's a lot of women that don't be crying. I never seen my mother crying. I never seen my grandmama crying. I didn't even see my great aunts or my aunties or none of the family friends, Mrs. Hardy, Mrs. Richardson, the boys on the block, Mrs. Wheels. I never seen a bunch of adults crying. I never seen adults crying. Unless they was at a funeral, maybe. But I haven't been around a bunch of crying adults. Because adults behaved themselves when I was growing up and didn't put themselves in miserable situations. We didn't have a bunch of young dudes running around shooting each other, leaving dead bodies everywhere when I was growing up. You fight. And you don't cry over no fight. You fight, you win. You don't cry over a fight. When I grew up and we have a fight, after a fight, you argue. That's when I grew up. If I fight a little boy, we don't cry. You don't cry because first, you ain't going to admit you got beat up. And second, you got to argue about who won. I won. See, I hit you in your eye, though. Yeah, but I bust your lip, though. Yeah, but then I hit you in your mouth 2 times. But then I flipped you in the ground and I hit you in your nose. So we be arguing over who won. We definitely don't be crying. I ain't never seen nobody cry in a fight when I was growing up, little kids. So I have never seen a bunch of crying. I seen a bunch of playing. I seen a bunch of girls jumping rope. I seen a bunch of kids playing Foursquare, playing Mother May I, playing hide and go seek, playing house, having parties, buying candy, having parties. But I never seen a whole bunch of crying. I never seen my mother cry, and I never seen my daddy cry. I never seen, my mama never left out the house. I'm leaving. I never heard my father say I'm leaving. I heard my mother say it one time, like I probably was about 7 or 8. Because I remember saying, I'm staying with daddy. You know what I'm saying? But I never seen that. So I haven't had sad, miserable life So I don't know nothing about no crying. I mean, we would hear children cry if you got a spanking, but we never heard nobody just crying over nothing emotional. I never seen my dad crying over nothing emotional, because my daddy didn't have anything emotional going on in his life. Us responsible men, we avoid emotional things in our life. You understand? We avoid emotional things in our life. Most of these things that you young people want to see is because your families was disintegrated by the time you came. You came after me, and your families was disintegrated. You were a part of the fall of the black family. So yeah, that probably was a bunch of crying. Probably. I mean, when I was coming up, they didn't do no fighting. You didn't see no women with no black eyes or nothing like that. Because when I grew up, you didn't never hit a woman. You didn't never hit a woman. I remember being a little boy, and you know how your sister hit you and you hit her back. You're like 6 years old. My mother would call me in the room and say, "Come here, Michael." Say, "Huh?" She say, "Don't hit your sister, Michael, because your sister's a girl. And if you hit her in the chest or in the stomach, you might really hurt her, and she might not be able to have no babies." And that scared the hell out of me. I'm like, "For real?" She was like, "Yeah, you could hurt her." So I was like, "Okay." You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I could break her. I said, that's what I interpret to me. If I hit my sister, I might break her. So I was like, "Oh no." She explained to me, that's different. She's not a boy. You could break her, basically. So I was terrified of that. So she said, "If she do something, you come tell me." I'm like, "Okay." Because I started looking and saying, "Oh yeah, she got all these clothes." You're a little boy. Sometimes your mama lay your clothes out. And I got some underwear, some drawers, t-shirt, pants, shirt, shoes, and socks. But my sister got like a bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? She got a bunch of stuff she had to put on. So I knew, oh, okay, yeah, why she got to wear all that? She got slips and all kind of stuff, stockings, and you know. So I was smart enough to see, you know, the difference. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Tracee Ellis Ross says she dates younger men to avoid toxic masculinity, which to me, I would think she would be more intelligent than that, because she's stereotyping. She's stereotyping. You see, what a lot of people don't understand is you have a tendency to come with conclusions based off of who you date, but you're not really doing the math, because you're not dating enough people to come up with these conclusions. Let's take Black Americans, right? There's like 48 million Black Americans. So if I grow up, by the time I get 30, I dated how many women? Let's say I dated 20. In science and in math, the only way I can come up with a conclusion about women, if there's 48 million, I would have to date at least 24 million. There's no way I could date 8 and come out with the scientific conclusion that I know something about women out of only the 8 or 20 I dated. That's not real science. Nobody does that in real science. So this woman making conclusions about men, she hasn't been with enough men to generalize like that. I cannot generalize about women because I have not been with enough women to say women are this or women are that. I can't really say that. On top of that, women in Chicago are a little bit different than women in Mississippi, and women in Mississippi are a little bit different than women in Los Angeles. So if I'm in Chicago and I'm dating women in Chicago, I can't just say women because I know nothing about women in Mississippi. I know nothing about women in Arizona. I know nothing about women in New York. I haven't been with enough women to generalize. Okay. I haven't seen enough women to generalize. And so you take these couple of little situations and start generalizing. That's a little crazy. So this lady, Tracee Ellis Ross, um, is saying that she dates younger men to avoid toxic masculinity, which once again is stereotyping. Because what is she saying? She's saying that every older man has toxic masculinity. So this woman is generalizing because she's saying that she only dates younger men to avoid toxic masculinity. So what she's basically saying is all older men have toxic masculinity. But she haven't dated. How many men have she dated? And then when she was dating men, they weren't older men. Because when she was dating men when she was young, they was the same age as the men she dating now. Right? You see what I'm saying? So if she ain't found no men that haven't had no toxic masculinity, and she was dating men when she was 20 and 30, and she was dating men that's 20 and 30, and now she's 50 and 60, and she dating men 20 and 30 saying, well, this younger generation don't have no toxic masculinity, she sound crazy. But we gonna go and look at what she's saying. But she's definitely sound crazy. Ross went on. It's not just that I'm older. I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, robust life. Besides the obvious explanation that younger men are hot and gorgeous, she added, a lot of men my age are steeped in toxic masculinity. Now, let's go back and look at that. Now, she's saying the young men are hot and gorgeous. Now, what if the young men she was dating said to her they don't want to date her because young women are hot and gorgeous? So she believes that the younger men are hot and gorgeous, more better looking than the older men, yet she wants them to date her, but she's not as hot and gorgeous as a young woman. If she's saying younger people are more hot and gorgeous, why would a young man date her? If she's dating somebody younger and what she considers more hot and gorgeous, what would make her think a younger man? Then she would be less hot and gorgeous. So why would she want a young man to deal with her? Right? She added, a lot of men my age are steeped in toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship should work. So what she's saying is she can get with young men and manipulate them. She can manipulate them. She could most likely use her fame and her money, and she can manipulate them and take them out of their masculinity, okay? And make them subservient to her, okay? And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it. She said she did enough of it. So now, once again, she's taken her personal relationships that she had. Many she had was with younger men, but she's saying some generational stuff right now, right? Where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or prize. I have no interest in it and I will not do it again. Now, she's lying. She's lying because a lot of these women are bisexual and she wants to most likely date men because the main difference with younger men of the younger generation are a lot of them are gay. That is the only difference. The only difference in this generation is that the men are feminine. So she's trying to play on words and say she don't no longer want to deal with toxic masculinity. She like this generation, but this generation is feminine. Tracee is saying that she's dating younger men because she don't want to go through because older men have toxic masculinity. Now, how many older men have you think she dated? Has she dated enough older men to generalize like that? Because she's generalizing. She has no real mathematical proof of what she's saying. She hasn't been with enough older men to say, older men are like this. Like me, I can't say older women are like that. That's false. I haven't dated enough older women to come with no conclusion what all the older women are. No, no. I can't make them conclusions. There have been always been more chilled out old men, always. There's always all men have never been like my daddy got a lot of brothers and my uncle Sidney, he used to wear pink and stuff. I asked my daddy, I said, is Uncle Sidney gay? And she like, no, Sidney always been like that. So there's always been soft men. She might want to wear the past her relationship or see, that's generalizing. That's generalizing because a lot of older men are married with older women. You see what I'm saying, Ivy? That's generalizing. That's not true. That's generalizing. You gotta say some. You gotta say some older men. You can't say older men. There's couples that have been married 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So you're saying that man is still married to his older people are married. So how could you say an older guy with an older wife complain? See, you got to say some older men. Because the fact is, some older men are with older women. Some older men like younger women. And a lot of older women don't like no young, older men don't like no young women. And that's a fact. There is more older men that don't like young women than like young women. Hold on, let's just deal with your first thing first. Then we'll get to that. You said older men. That's a generalized. Go back and correct that. Let's deal with one thing at a time. Let's not, let's deal with one thing at a time. Let's deal with one thing at a time. Go back. Let's correct that. Let's not just jump over that. You're doing the same thing she was doing. These things that people are saying, we have to start practicing to not generalize. That is false. Older men do not like younger women. That is false. That's false. That's a it's so hard it's so hard. Anyway, for everybody else, right? It is not fair to make that statement for this man right here. That is an older black man, and he obviously loves this older black woman. So your statement, Ivy, is false. It's false. You are generalizing because if you see an older man that says he likes younger women, that's him. He is not older men. I can't look at Tracee and say older women like younger men just because Tracee said that. Tracee said that. She does not represent women. She represents Tracee. And she is generalizing. She's generalizing. Exhibit A. What do y'all see? Does this look like older men like younger women? Because I see a bunch of older couples. So how are you just going to disrespect these people and speak of older men, which they are older men, and now you're putting them in a false category, and you're not respecting people that have their 50th year anniversary, 60th year anniversary. You're disrespecting them. People are having 50, 60 year anniversaries. Why would you just overlook them and just make a blank statement? This has got to stop. We're supposed to be getting more intelligent, so we're not supposed to be generalizing. Okay? I'm stuck with this crowd, y'all. So for y'all, the ones that's really learning, I have to apologize for the chat because we come up in a generalizing society. And they see some people doing something and they just stack it on the whole group. They overlook anything that doesn't fit what they have put in their mind, and they can see a bunch of older couples and they won't register that. They'll just register what they want to register and make these blank statements. But I'm in Chicago, you go outside, you're going to see older couples all day, every day. You go to church, you're going to see older couples all day, every day, all day. And most older people are together. There's very few older people with younger people. This is all fake, false. In America, most seniors are with seniors, okay? And anything other than that is false. There's not a bunch of older black men running around looking for no young woman. This is false. false, 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 totally false. None of my uncles did that. My daddy didn't do that. It's really disrespecting my father, disrespecting my uncles, disrespecting my uncle Oscar, disrespecting all the older brothers I know that stay with their wives. It's disrespect. It's total disrespect to generalize like that. And then younger people are watching and you feeding this false information and going against everything. I'm trying to help people not generalize. I'm trying to show y'all that Tracee is generalizing because older men don't even like the events you got to go to meet a younger woman. Older men meet women at the events they go to. They meet them at church. They meet them at older events, at bingo and stuff like that. It's all false. It's false information. The majority of people are with their age group. I go by what's really outside. I don't go by just what one person. I go by, when I go outside in Chicago, I go by real life. That's why I say I'll be outside. And I could take you to any church Sunday in Chicago. I could take you to any brunch. I could take you anywhere to have dinner. And you're going to see older couples. People like me, we ain't trying to date no younger woman. We trying to go, because a lot of times, older people, they both be widows and then they get together. Because we meet women whose husband then passed away or she been got divorced and she been single 7, 8, 9 years. I'm going to just keep it $1 billion. So for me at 67, the women that I'm going to meet are going to be older and single and ready to mingle. This is just a fact. You know what I'm saying? This is just a real fact. And none of my friends is running around looking for no, somebody that ain't in their age category. Everybody in their age category is looking for somebody in their age category. People that's in their 50s and their 40s that go to Steppers Club is at the Steppers Club with people that 40 and 50. There's no 70 and 80-year-olds at the Steppers Club. So all them older Black people that's at the Steppers Club, they all the same age. There is no 19-year-olds. There is no 25-year-olds at the Steppers Club. If you go to a house music party in Chicago, they all gonna be in their 60s and 50s. There is no young people at the house party. Is she tripping for pursuing these young dudes? No, because everybody got the right to live their life the way they want to live their life. If that's what she want to do, that's what she gonna do. I don't have no problem with her dating. I have a problem with her statement. If she could just date, why is you going out here putting out false statements? Nobody cares who she's dating. So there was no need for her to talk about her dating and then throw these false allegations out there that she don't want to date nobody her age because they got toxic masculinity. And then she says she been through it. So what she's trying to do is she's trying to say all of us got toxic masculinity because that handful of dudes that she dated had it. And she's trying to say everybody's like them dudes she dated. That's what she's basically saying. She's saying everybody, because she said, I've been through it. But you ain't been through nothing but who you dated. You haven't been through that with him. So how could you speak for them? She can only speak for the ones she dated. And she picked those ones and didn't pick the other ones. So what I would say is maybe you picked those. Maybe she was doing the reverse. So as she's older now, dating young men, she probably was young dating older men. That's what it sounds like to me. Don't sound like she ever dated in her age category. It sounds like she dated older men and she didn't like their dominance. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me that she was in Hollywood and older dudes had her. And now she never really know nothing about her age group. That's what it sounds like to me. Because I don't know how men in her age group would be less liberal than her. Seems like men in her age group would be just like her. I wouldn't say God ran through, but I would say it's a high possibility that she's not dating for real and that she's with gay men, and she could be gay and lying and be with gay men to look like she's in a relationship because she don't want nobody to know she's gay. So it could be anything. It could be anything. You understand? We know why. Who is we? Speak for yourself. We know why some 90-year-olds are around. Some want a sugar daddy, and the same for most of the women that date younger men. Not really. That's where you live at, Leon, because there's no young women around. Around where? Around where? These are all false statements. There's nowhere to be around. Where? Around where? See, I don't understand that. There's nowhere to be around. In a big city like Chicago, there's nowhere to be around. It's you go to work, you come back. There's no place where nobody's standing around. Nobody's around. Nobody's around. People are only around their little group when they do their little thing, but there's no place in a big city like Chicago to just be around. Though that's not real. There's no way I can go out here now and there's just 19-year-olds around. Like where? That doesn't exist. There's no place in Chicago you can go and there's just 19-year-olds around. That's false. That's false. These different age groups coming together because they happen to be in the same facility and live there and in a situation where they bump into each other, where the older brother going to the store, the young girl work in the store, he get to flirt with her. That's how that's happening. But she's not around for that. She really works in the store. So she's not around in the store to catch him. They just bump into each other. So you can't make that like, oh, she's around trying to bump into dude. No. That's not real. And we get in these people like Tracee, she should be ashamed on herself getting on social media and giving misinformation, generalizing. She's supposed to be intelligent enough to explain herself. Plus, she shouldn't be talking about her relationships like that. Nobody wants to hear why you with somebody. Nobody wants to hear in your interview, I'm with young men because the older dudes wasn't on nothing. Nobody wants to hear that because that's false. How many older dudes you was with? How could she be with 5 older men and make a statement about older men? So let's say black men, right? Right? And there's 48 million black people, which means there's probably 24 million black men. How the hell are you going to be with 4 black men and speak on black men and there's 28 million black men? Make that makes, I can't say, what can I say about black women when there's 24 million black women? I have no statistics on black women. I cannot tell you any particular way that black women act. I cannot tell you that. I can tell you common sense to tell you it's all different types. There is no particular type of black woman. I cannot say black women are like this. Based on what? What information do I got to say black women are like this? When in my life, I ain't been with enough black women to say what black women is like. I haven't been with black women in New Orleans. I haven't been with black women in Texas. I haven't even been with 5,000 black women. And it's 24 million. Show me in science where you could take a small number and come up with a statistic. In all science, before they can say, they look at so many specimens and they say, okay, after looking out at these specimens, 9 out of 10 was like this. I have not been out with enough black women to say 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 20. I don't know. I don't know nothing about black women. I only know something about the women I was with. I only know about the women I was with, but I know for sure they don't represent women. They represent themselves. If I was with Sheila and Sheila was acting a fool, Sheila was acting a fool. She's not black women. She is Sheila. And I'm not going to take no experience I had with Sheila and say I was with black women and black women do all this because Sheila. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't had one woman that was alike. I have not had no woman that was like no other woman. Never. Every woman I was with was their unique, was just them. There was not another one. I've never been in a relationship where I could say she's just like the last relationship. Never. Ever. I've never been in a relationship where any of them were anything like each other at all. Didn't look like each other, didn't act like each other, didn't have the same childhood each other had, didn't have the same, nothing. It was nothing similar, okay? Let's keep it real. Nothing similar. That's for the white women I slept with and all the women. I have never, ever been with no women that was the same. Never. And I lived in Hawaii and I was with a lot of women and I ain't had no woman that I could say, oh, she was like her. No. Never, ever. And I've been with a lot of women. And I ain't never had two that nothing alike. They was always just them. I wasn't dealing with a woman. If I'm with Deborah, I'm not dealing with a woman. I'm dealing with Deborah. Okay? She's not a black woman. She's Deborah. Okay? She is not a black woman and I'm not a black man. She is Deborah and I am Pharaoh. And she cannot take no experience with me and try to put that on no other black man that I probably wouldn't even fuck with. That ain't nothing like me. So how's she gonna compare me to some dude that ain't even nothing like me? We might not even get along. The dude she trying to say, oh, y'all, this lady should be ashamed of herself. Come on, man. Y'all, ladies, y'all been with two men that's alike? That don't exist. We like snowflakes. That's why relationships are so hard, because when you get with a person, you're unique and they're unique. So the relationship is unique. There is no other relationship like that relationship. That's why I can't give relationship advice. I cannot give relationship advice because the woman you was with you is unique and you are unique and y'all got together and y'all relationship is unique. So I would have to sit down with y'all and find out y'all uniqueness and help y'all, but I would not be able to compare y'all to nothing but y'all. So every time I was in a different relationship, that was a totally different situation. It was nothing like the last relationship. I mean, absolutely. There was no advice I could take from the last relationship to the next one. It don't work like that because the person you with got two different parents, raised different ways, got different stuff. Different parents, raised, y'all might have grew up in different neighborhoods. I mean, everything is just different experiences. So I can't say nothing about women. I don't know. I don't know nothing about women like that. Where I can just generalize women. Because I'm with a woman and she acted messed up, and I'll be like, women be acting messed up. No, Sandy. Okay, you was with Sandy, bro. You was with Sandy and Karen. And Sandy and Karen act messed up. Sandy and Karen are not women. They are Sandy and Karen. Okay? I raised twins. Let me show y'all something. First off, all twins ain't even identical. Hello. First off, all twins ain't even identical. Some twins are identical, but all twins aren't identical. Now let me show you something. Let me show you the twins that I raised, my stepchildren. If a boy dated one of them, okay, there go my stepdaughters. They ain't nothing alike, okay? There's no way you can date one of them and then think you know anything about the other one. They ain't nothing alike. None of these young people in this picture is alike. My stepson with the white and black on is his own self. Both of the girls is some individuals, and my son on the right, they ain't nothing is alike. I mean, nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing. When I say nothing, they have nothing in common. Nothing. So these is false stuff I'm trying to teach y'all, because we got social media. We can fix some of this. Let's try to get rid of the generalizing. That's why I keep saying they come on and say we, and y'all keep saying, I say we. Who is we? Who is we? And so this lady is saying some false stuff. You know, she should be ashamed of herself for saying like, older men. Like, she's saying some fake stuff because when she was dating and she was younger, what age was these so-called older men? Because if you're 40, a 30-year-old is not an older man. But if you're 20, a 30-year-old is an older man. So when she says older men, are they really older or were they just older compared to her age then? And are they not the same age as the one she's dating now? So some of the men she's saying older, now she's dating men that age. Talking about they got toxic masculinity. Let's take a break and we're going to get into toxic masculinity. We're going to get into all that. Okay, ladies, here we go. Now, some people will come and say, well, what's wrong with her dating younger men? I never said nothing was wrong with it. That's why I didn't want to answer that question, because that question is assuming that's what I'm saying. Nobody heard me say that there was nothing wrong with her dating whoever she wanted to date. You could date whoever you want to date. I don't have no problem with her date. I got a problem with her statement she made. Listen, it's none of my business who you date. So when you start asking me, well, what about older men with younger women? That's assuming I got a problem with her dating younger men. I never said I had a problem with her dating younger men. I never said that. Show me where I said I had a problem with it. I had a problem with the reason she say she doing it. She didn't have to make up no bullshit reason. Just do what you're doing. So right away, I started getting stuff. Well, what about men doing it? That's why I said we got to raise our comprehension. Show me where I said that she shouldn't be dating younger men. I never said that. I never said that. I never hinted towards that. I never said nothing like that. So why would you question me about age? I never, ever, ever said it was anything wrong with it, because the fact what I don't like is it's none of my business. She foul for telling us. Now, when she's out there with a younger man and I say something, she gonna say, mind your business. What do you mean, man? You put your business, you see what I'm saying? What do you mean, mind my business? Well, keep that to yourself. There's no reason for her to explain to us who she's sleeping with. That's how you know she lying. Listen, that's how you know she lying, because that's nothing she should be telling us. She should not be talking about the age of people she's sleeping with, because now it doesn't sound like she's dealing with love, because she's saying younger men and not a young man. So she sound like a bust down. Sound like she belonged to the streets. What do you mean, younger men? How many? Oh, you's a hoe. Okay? No, but listen, she don't have to justify what she's saying. She don't understand what she's saying. She say younger men, which means you're bouncing around. Men. Michelle Obama can't make her say that. She said that. Michelle just asked you questions. When she said, I'm dating younger men, that means she's hoeing around. Because if I was 45 and she was 55, I would not want her going on there talking about our relationship. We in love. Our age got nothing to do with it. And I'm not men. So imagine if I was dating her and it's me and her and we a couple and she got on there and said, men. I'd be like, men? So is it more than me? Is it more than me? You're dating younger men. How many? So you said that's why she could be ran through. Yeah. But a lot of times she just might be gay and don't want nobody to know it. People lie and they breath stink. So I can't take nothing. I'm not taking nothing she say. I wouldn't put my life on the line for it. Because she's always moved to me like a lesbian. I'm just keep it real. To me, she never appeared to be a heterosexual. To me. She was always a little weird to me. Right? I'm going to keep it real. So I can't believe nothing she said. But I know what she said is not good for young people or the community. Talk about how many young men you running through and you sleeping with. And they're trying to say that you're doing it because older men has got toxic masculinity, but you sleeping with a bunch of men, so you ain't showing no type of morality or nothing yourself. You's a hoe. So how's a hoe? You understand? Yeah, she's gay. Her mother was gay. Michael Jackson and all of them was. You understand? So when she said, I'm dating younger men, when you say you're dating younger men, that means you're not trying to settle down. She didn't say, because dating is a word meaning sleeping with. So she's misusing the word dating. See, dating comes from courting. And dating is what you do to somebody to get to know them, to build a relationship and eventually get married. But now people are sleeping around and they're calling it dating. So now the prostitute saying they go on a date, they call it a date. So if I got a bunch of hoes, every time they go, they call it a date. So hoeing is dating now. You understand? That's whoring around. That's what your grandparents used to call it. That's whoring around. Okay? So she's trying to clean it up. No, you're whoring around. You hoeing around. That's not dating. Dating is the process of getting to know the person you like. So I meet you, I get your phone number, and we go on some dates to get to know each other. So you don't go out there dating around to get in a relationship. Relationships come organically. So you don't go out there chasing it. You just live your life and you let your soulmate come to you. You don't go out there chasing it. No relationship I've been in, I chased it. It all happened organically. I met them organically.